Earlier today, political reporter Rick Albin talked with Congressman Bill Huizenga for his reaction on that crisis in Afghanistan.
Congressman, we've all seen over the past couple of days, it's been going on, I guess, about 9 days, but we've seen in the past 48 hours this really deteriorating situation in Afghanistan. And I know you've had some pretty strong reactions about it. Give me your take on what's going on there and what the U.S. role is as we speak right now.
Well, it should not have been like this, and it could have been avoided. That's the frustrating part of this. And you all have run stories about work that myself and others in West Michigan have been doing, trying to get interpreters back out of Afghanistan, for example. And this administration has been dragging its feet. Clearly, it did not plan. And I think there's responsibility with General Milley. I think there's responsibility with Secretary Blinken. Frankly, I think they ought to resign. This is that much of a complete debacle. And here we are going to have the image of the Taliban flag flying over what's now the former U.S. Embassy on the 20th anniversary of September 11. It's just kind of stunning to me.
When you talk about assessing blame and having people resign, do you think that this was a miscalculation, or was this something you say it could have been prevented? How could it have been prevented?
Well, first of all, it doesn't take a genius to know that we needed to create a security bubble. As we were seeing the rapid deterioration in the other parts of the country, how did they not expect that this wasn't going to be happening in Kabul as well? So here's why I believe that these folks ought to resign. Either they were so wildly off, they were incompetent, or they were not forceful enough to understand and actually push for their position. And at some point, the responsibility stops with the president and those that advise him. And I don't think Joe Biden's going to be resigning over this. Clearly, based on what his speech was, he's doubling down. In fact, he was blaming everybody from the Afghans, the military in Afghanistan, the governmental structure, the geography, the history, and every president before him, including, by the way, the one he served with for 8 years as vice president, blamed them for what was happening, not for his ineptitude when it came to actually doing a pullout in a measured way. That's the part here, Rick, that everybody is missing. We went into Afghanistan for very different reasons than we were in Iraq. We should be leaving Afghanistan in a much different way, and we're not doing that. In fact, we're probably doing it worse.
What can the government do? What can the military do? What can Congress do now that the circumstances are what they are on the ground? What should we be doing?
Yeah, I wish I would have heard more clarity out of the president saying that if the Taliban harm any Americans or any of our allies and friends in the country, that we would retaliate. Now, here's the oddity of this whole thing. We have control of the airport, at least on the military side, but the Taliban is surrounding that, and they're regulating who is going in and out. So even those interpreters and those people that were helpful to us, we can't necessarily even get them in to get them out of the country. So we're going to find ourselves in here, I'm afraid, sending more troops back in just to create that security bubble and that ability to get out of the country than what we had in the first place. And if we had more responsibly left them there and had a more measured withdrawal, we wouldn't find ourselves in this situation. Just think back of how we left Bagram Air Force Base. I mean, that was just a travesty in itself, and that should have been a harbinger for what and a lesson for what we're seeing today.
Congressman, as always, we thank you for your time.
Hey, thanks, Rick. Appreciate it.